Many years ago, in the days when King Saul ruled, the Israelites were at war with the Philistines. Now the Philistines gathered their armies together to battle and were gathered at Socho, which belongs to Judah. They encamped between Socho and Azekah in Ephes-Dammim. And Saul and the men of Israel were gathered together, and they encamped in the valley of Elah, and drew up in battle array against the Philistines. The Philistines stood on a mountain on one side, and Israel stood on a mountain on the other side, with a valley between them. And a champion went out from the camp of the Philistines, named Goliath, from Gath, whose height was over 9 feet. He had a bronze helmet on his head, and he was armed with a coat of mail, and the weight of the coat was 5,000 shekels of bronze. And he had bronze armor on his legs and a bronze javelin between his shoulders. Now the staff of his spear was like a weaver's beam, and his iron spearhead weighed 600 shekels, and a shield-bearer went before him. Then he stood and cried out to the armies of Israel and said to them,
"Why have you come out to line up for battle? Am I not a Philistine, and you the servants of Saul? Choose a man for yourselves, and let him come down to me. If he is able to fight with me and slay me, then we will be your servants. But if I prevail against him and slay him, then you shall be our servants and serve us. I defy the armies of Israel this day. Give me a man, that we may fight together."
When Saul and all Israel heard these words of the Philistine, they were dismayed and greatly afraid. Now David was the son of that Ephrathite of Bethlehem, Judah, whose name was Jesse, and who had 8 sons. And the man was old, advanced in years. The 3 oldest sons of Jesse had gone to follow Saul to the battle. The names of his 3 sons who went to the battle were Eliab the firstborn, next to him Abinadab, and the third Shammah. David was the youngest, and the 3 oldest followed Saul. But David occasionally went and returned from Saul to feed his father's sheep at Bethlehem. And the Philistine drew near and presented himself 40 days, morning and evening.
I defy the armies of Israel this day.
Then Jesse said to his son David,
"Take now for your brothers an ephah of this dried grain and these 10 loaves, and run to your brothers at the camp, and carry these 10 cheeses to the captain of their 1,000, and see how your brothers fare, and bring back news of them."
So David rose early in the morning, left the sheep with a keeper, and took the things and went as Jesse had commanded him. And he came to the camp as the army was going out to the fight and shouting for the battle. For Israel and the Philistines had drawn up in battle array, army against army. And David left his supplies in the hand of the supply keeper, ran to the army, and came and greeted his brothers. Then, as he talked with them, there was the champion, the Philistine of Gath, Goliath by name, coming up from the armies of the Philistines, and he spoke according to the same words.
I defy the armies of Israel this day. Give me a man, that we may fight together.
So David heard them.
I defy the armies of Israel this day.
And all the men of Israel, when they saw the man, fled from him and were dreadfully afraid. So the men of Israel said,
"Have you seen this man who has come up? Surely he has come up to defy Israel. And it shall be that the man who kills him, the king will enrich with great riches, will give him his daughter, and give his father's house exemption from taxes in Israel."
Then David spoke to the men who stood by him, saying,
"What shall be done for the man who slays this Philistine and takes away the reproach from Israel? For who is this uncircumcised Philistine, that he should defy the armies of the living God?"
And the people answered him. Now Eliab, his oldest brother, heard when he spoke to the men, and Eliab's anger was aroused against David.
"Why did you come down here? And with whom have you left those few sheep in the wilderness? I know your pride and the insolence of your heart, for you have come down to see the battle."
"What have I done now? Is there not a cause?"
Then he turned from him toward another, and said the same thing. And these people answered him as the first ones did. Now when the words which David spoke were heard, they reported them to Saul, and he sent for him. Then David said to Saul,
"Let no man's heart fail because of him. Your servant will go and fight with this Philistine."
And Saul said to David,
"You are not able to go against this Philistine to fight with him, for you are a youth, and he was a man of war from his youth.
Your servant used to keep his father's sheep, and when a lion or a bear came and took a lamb out of the flock, I went out after it and struck it, and delivered the lamb from its mouth. And when it arose against me, I caught it by its beard, and struck and killed it. Your servant has killed both lion and bear, and this uncircumcised Philistine will be like one of them, seeing he has defied the armies of the living God. The Lord, who delivered me from the paw of the lion and from the paw of the bear, he will deliver me from the hand of this Philistine.
Go, and the Lord be with you.
So Saul clothed David with his armor, and he put a bronze helmet on his head. David fastened his sword to his armor and tried to walk, for he had not tested them. And David said to Saul,
I cannot walk with these, for I have not tested them.
So David took them off. Then he took his staff in his hand, and he chose for himself 5 smooth stones from the brook, and put them in a shepherd's bag, in a pouch which he had, and his sling was in his hand. And he drew near to the Philistine. So the Philistine came, and began drawing near to David. And when the Philistine looked about and saw David, he disdained him, for he was only a youth. So the Philistine said to David,
Am I a dog that you come to me with sticks?
And the Philistine cursed David by his gods.
Come to me, and I will give your flesh to the birds of the air and the beasts of the field.
You come to me with a sword, with a spear, and with a javelin. But I come to you in the name of the Lord of hosts, the God of the armies of Israel, whom you have defied. This day the Lord will deliver you into my hand, and I will strike you and take your head from you. And this day I will give the carcasses of the camp of the Philistines to the birds of the air and the wild beasts of the earth, that all the earth may know that there is a God in Israel. Then all this assembly shall know that the Lord does not save with sword and spear, for the battle is the Lord's, and he will give you into our hands.
So it was, when the Philistine arose and came and drew near to meet David, that David hurried and ran toward the army to meet the Philistine. Then David put his hand in his bag and took out a stone. And he slung it and struck the Philistine in his forehead, so that the stone sank into his forehead, and he fell on his face to the earth. But there was no sword in the hand of David. Therefore David ran and stood over the Philistine, took his sword, and drew it out of its sheath and killed him, and cut off his head with it.
I didn't raise a hero. I raised a boy who loved his God, and God made him a hero. If you remember anything from today, remember this. It's not the size of the stone. It's the strength of the Spirit behind it. And no heart is too small when it belongs fully to God.
Little man, what you doing here? Makes me laugh, makes me sneer. You're just food for my spear. Every day I stand so tall, watch them run, watch them crawl. All these warriors, big and small, never saw one who wouldn't fall. Never saw it coming, no. Never saw it coming, bro. Think you're brave? Well, let me know when you're ready for the show. Never saw it coming, never saw it fall. Never thought a shepherd boy could shake my wall. Never saw it coming, never thought I'd see such a tiny fighter stepping up to me. Never saw it coming. is more than you. Every step I take is true. Got an army backing me. Why you stand there, 1, 2, 3? Never saw it coming, right? Never saw it coming, fight. Gonna learn about my might. Gonna end this here tonight. Wait, what's that in your hand? Just a slinger coming in. Gonna learn about my mind. Gonna end this here tonight. Wait, what's that in your hand? Just a sling and just a stone. Something in your eyes, man, got me shook down to my bones. Never saw it coming. Look at this little shepherd thinking he can take me down. Got my bronze and iron suit, wearing victory like a crown. 9 feet tall and built for war, been fighting since my youth. But something in the way you move is speaking truth. Your God's got you feeling bold, I see it in your stance. While my God stays silent, you're taking your chance. 1 stone's all it took to make a giant understand. Sometimes the biggest fall comes from the smallest. Never saw it coming, never saw it fall. Never thought a shepherd boy could shake my wall. Never saw it coming, never thought I'd see the end of all my pride come straight for me. Never saw it coming. Little man, you taught me well. Little man, you taught me well. Got a story I can tell. From my height down to the ground. Never heard a sweeter sound. Well, I hear you've been talking big, making threats and putting on your show. But from down here where I'm standing, you're just compensating, don't you know? They all ran when you appeared, but I see right through your game. Got my sling and got my courage, and I'm calling out your name. The bigger they are, the harder they fall. That's what they say, and I believe it all. You can tower above the world below, but pride comes before the overthrow. Your armor shining in the sun, but what's beneath that metal shell? A heart that's pumping fear and doubt, more than any man can tell. Got no sword and got no shield, just what I need to get this done. Sometimes victory's hiding in the places others run. The bigger they are, the harder they fall. That's what they say, and I believe it all. You can tower above the world below, but pride comes before the overthrow. Oh, the overthrow. Size ain't everything, truth be told. Sometimes the smallest stone can break the tallest hole. The bigger they are, the harder they fall. That's what they say, and I believe it all. You can tower above the world below, don't explore the overthrow. Watch you overthrow.
Thanks for watching. Please subscribe, like, and share.